Hey guys, Wages World here. It is January 26th, going to the 27th, 2020, and I'm going to come at you with the video here. Okay guys, I'm going to give you an update on this virus, what's going on with this, and I've made this video a few times now, probably about 12, 13 times, and I went back and I was like, can I make this sound any less negative than what it sounds like to me? And then it just kind of hit me in the face. It's like, I can't make this sound positive. The information I'm getting ready to share with you as far as this goes and what we're getting ready to talk about is not positive. It's just not. There's nothing I can do to change that, but I do think you guys need this information. And I'm going to point you guys over to some other channels like Hope ENG, Scott over at Planet X News, Mike and Cindy at Evolutionary Energy Arts. Those guys do a really good job of giving updates and stuff. So, I will give you guys those links at the end of this video. But I'm going to say something else here too, and I'm going to reiterate something I said yesterday. It's becoming to the point now where it actually infuriates me and makes me angry to the point I really want to start throwing station names out there, and I've always not wanted to do that, and I'm not going to do it this time. But I am so tired of watching or clicking through videos and it says breaking news every stinking thumbnail. Okay? I'm speaking to the creators out there that have these channels. If you're putting breaking news in your thumbnail, you better have something in that video that is breaking news. If not, you're a freaking liar. Okay? All you're doing is trying to grab people in. It is clickbait. And you're crying wolf, and at the same time, you're going to affect somebody's life. Because when you do that, and you put breaking news on everything, somebody's going to click on that thing, and they're going to be like, that wasn't breaking news. And then when it's actually breaking news on somebody else's video, they're going to skip over it and think it's nothing. You are part of the problem if you're doing that. So please, quit doing that if you're doing it. Anyway, sorry about that, but it's really been getting to me. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the numbers here, okay? Now, what we got here is just the true numbers of what actually is going on. Only thing this website can do is go off the numbers they're given. So these guys aren't doing anything wrong. I think they're getting as much accurate as they can, okay? But I do know that we have contacts and stuff over there in that area. Those of us here that run these channels and stuff, we talk amongst ourselves. We have people that live all over the country. All over the world, actually, okay? And we're seeing videos, hearing conversations that, frankly, we just can't show you guys that stuff, okay? Because it's very disturbing. And I can tell you right now, I don't know what the numbers actually are, but they're not what they're showing us. They're way higher. And we're going to see it here in about probably a week or two once this incubation period kicks in. And this stuff they're not going to be able to hide it, okay? So when, like over there in China, when they decide to build a whole hospital in 5 days, that should just ring in everybody's head like, oh my gosh, are they really doing that? Yes, they are. This is serious stuff, okay? I don't think that this is anything false. I don't think that it's anything like that. No, like I said, are we getting the true gravity of all this? Probably not, okay? But this is what we have to go off of. We have no other choice. But anyway, right now they're saying there's currently 2,807 people, confirmed cases, and 80 of those people have passed. You guys can do some quick math there if you want, get a percentage. Frankly, I just look at it and say that's bad, okay? I don't even really want to know, just to be honest. This whole thing brings me down enough that, well, yeah, it got me angry there at the beginning. I'm sorry about that, guys. But it really just irritates me. There's so many times I want to mention people's channel names. I just don't because, well, it's just not my personality. Anyway, what this does is it gives you guys, where the countries, it shows you guys the number of cases, right in here, and this shows you the fatalities. And this over here gives you the source of where they got their data from. Okay, but then here's the map. Now, this is where it kind of sets home with people. You can see where this is spreading to. Now, again, I said this yesterday. Why are we not seeing anything here? I think it has something to do with lack of reporting. Maybe they didn't have the air traffic going over there. I don't know. But I think we're going to start seeing stuff there too. I don't know why we're not seeing stuff there now. Again, like I said, I think it's just lack of reporting what's actually there. So with that being said, guys, what can we do to help this? They're now saying, even in the government agencies now, they're saying that they're not going to be able to contain this. Okay? They're already coming out and saying that. We're hearing leaks of that already. So it's going to be up to us. Okay? I showed you guys all those numbers yesterday from the Harvard doctor. It's going to take us to stop it. This is not going to stop naturally. They've said that they are not going to be able to contain this. It's going to have to stop. We're going to have to do it. How do we do that? Well, the biggest thing we can do, guys, is wash our hands multiple times. Anytime you touch something outside, just wash your hands. Throw some hand sanitizer in your pocket, in your purse, whatever. And it's a very simple step. Okay? Now, I can tell you this. I was actually going to go buy some masks today. And, I've had a lot of birthdays in my family here the past weekend and stuff. So I haven't really had a whole lot of time to do stuff. That and, I got surgery on Tuesday, having all my teeth. I got 20 teeth that are getting cut out so I can get, I had my teeth go bad because of, I got malnourished when I had my bariatric surgery. And all my teeth just went bad. They just busted off. And I never had a cavity till I was 35. Anyway, side note. I went to buy these masks, guys, and they're hard to find. People have already bought almost the majority of all of them. Okay, so if you're able to get a hold of some of those, and it's the N95 mask is what you want, but that's not going to stop everything, because this is also susceptible and can transfer through your eyes. All right, so you really need to, if you're really taking that serious, if you're going to take a serious step to put a mask on, you probably need to go to the extra level and put some goggles on too. Okay, if you think you're going to be in an area where it might be more prevalent. So yeah, so I wanted to bring that up and show you guys there's new cases being confirmed every day right now. Every hour it seems like. Arizona now, guys. That was just a few hours ago. California, a couple cases. Obviously the ones in Chicago and Seattle, and plus all these other places around the world, and it's just going to continue. Okay, and again, guys, I'm sorry that all came out negative, but there was really no way to put a positive spin on that, guys. Really wasn't. So let me get into some space stuff, guys, and show you guys what's going on there. Okay, guys, first thing I want to show you guys here when it comes to this, I want to show you guys the sunspots that's been going on. And there are actually 2 sunspots right now. And I mentioned this yesterday in my video. But what I want to point out here's the equator of the sun. Okay, and the Earth kind of sits right here. Look where this sunspot is. Okay, it's right in front of us right now. So it is going to change our flux is actually going to go up a little bit because of the sunspot. And that's good for like ham radio operators and stuff. It helps that stuff propagate a lot better. But that is good for that area. But what we have to pay attention to is if this thing was to flare. Okay, if it has a flare of CME that comes off of it, it most likely would come right at us, unless it goes off at an angle or whatever, in which it can. But it has a better chance of getting to us or coming our direction if it's sitting right in front of us. So I wanted to show that to you because I do think that that's important. We need to pay attention to this. Now, as you can tell, guys, that's a pretty healthy sunspot. Okay, and I may take you over to SDO and show you that one capture there on that. It shows the polarity of it, the blue and the red and the green and the yellow. Now, I want to explain something too, okay? Say that this is red and this is blue, positive and negative. Let's go negative and positive. Now, when the sunspot happens, it connects like this, right? And it gets multiple connections a lot of times. So let me take that off of there like that. Make it more like here and here. put negative and positive, okay? So it's got this connection, negative and positive, okay? And there's usually multiple ones. What happens is, as they get closer, sometimes they get closer to each other. So when that negative and positive actually get closer to each other, eventually they're going to short out, basically, right? So when they do short out, that's usually when we see the flare. Boof, okay? Actually, within just a few hours, I watched the negative and positive cores underneath this thing. Actually, they were kind of like here and here. They went from there to like way out like this. It grew like within just a few hours. It was pretty amazing to watch. It's not unusual. That is what happens a lot of times with sunspots, but that is what's going on. Now here's the second one. And again, we have to watch this one once it comes, even right now, because it is on the Earth-facing side of the sun. So again, if it blows a flare and it's actually coming at an angle and the Earth is here, it could get to us, right? Or if it's just a large flare and it flares way out and goes out like a shotgun shell, okay, it spreads out. Sometimes that's what happens. Now this is a 304. Now when you see bright areas on this one, because typically this one's pretty, it stays pretty dark colored. So when you see these sunspots get this bright, you know that that is an active sunspot usually. Very, very bright area. So what I'm going to do, and again guys, this is just something that's hanging in there. It's showing there. We can zoom in here. It's very bright and it's very active. It seems really, really healthy. It is a true sunspot. So that's something we haven't seen for a while. And this one here looks like it's going to probably do the same. You can actually see that would be the positive and negative, or negative and positive. You see the umber right there connecting the two? That's what I'm talking about when we're talking about that positive and negative connection. Basically the filament in between it. It's kind of like you can kind of think of it like an incandescent light bulb. You know, you get the filament in the middle. You know, you got your light bulb. And you got the filament that comes up here, but it's like this, and it's got that little thin wire in the middle. Okay, and that's where the heat generates from. That's where the light comes out. When that filament breaks, that's when your light bulb goes out. So that's kind of what goes on with the sun at a very basic level, just so you guys know. But yeah, so we do have sunspots. Now we're going to talk about our magnetosphere. We're getting hit in some crazy ways, and I'll show it to you. Okay guys, so what I'm going to show you guys, this is space weather. We'll talk about this first. Again, that's not high winds at all. Now I will say this, I caught a wind speed that was actually going 3.3 million miles per hour. Okay, and I'll show it to you here in a minute. But here's the geomagnetic activity, very, very low. Okay, again, it's just popping here and there, going up, going down, just a little bit though. Again, this is the Star Wars analogy, where we want to be in balance as far as negative to positive as far as strength. We always want to be in the middle when we're talking about this, okay? We don't want to be high because it gets us into storm levels. We don't want to be low because cosmic rays get to us easier. So, but you can look at this and you can see some variability. This is the ACE data. Now, look here. That is some serious fluctuations. Okay, jumping up and down. Now we have to always look, and I've made this mistake myself, at the actual range. We're looking at a wind speed of 270 to 340. Now when you tell me we have a wind speed of 270, I'm going to look at you and I'm going to tell you, man, that ain't going to do nothing to us. Okay, we wouldn't see anything, but we are. All right, and there's a lot of reasons for that. One of them being our weakened magnetic field because of solar minimum. Okay. But you can see how we had a steady increase, seemed to be right here. Kind of moved around, it got variable again, and I'll show you all this stuff, what it did to us magnetically, okay? Now the orange is the density, and you're seeing that when the velocity changed with the yellow, the orange reacted almost in the opposite way, which is usually what we see, okay? When they both go up at the same time, that's when we were like, oh my gosh, we're going to get hit with some pretty good stuff. Now, I question this model, okay? I don't question it in the fact that it can't show us anything. I question it in the fact that I don't think it can do much for us 5 days out, because it always changes. All right? Now, we're right here in time right now, okay? So those are the conditions. It can tell us what already happened in the past because that's what it does. This thing will update whenever it needs to. Sometimes it updates every hour, every 2 hours. Okay? This always changes, like our local on the 8th weather report locally. Okay? But you can see that they're trying to say that we're going to get some sort of elevated solar wind, and it's going to stay up there for days. Okay? Now, I don't know where they're getting, why this model's showing this. Now, it could be because we might have some coronal holes coming through that are on the side of the sun we can't see yet. But this, we got stereo A right here that looks at the side of the sun, so it might be seeing something, and that's where this model's getting its information at. That's probably what's going on there, but what I want to tell you right now is that whatever it's trying to tell you right here is going to happen 5 days out. We'll look at it again, okay? That would be February 1st. The video I do on February 1st or 2nd, I will show you guys that it's not even going to be close, okay? Now, we can go about 2 days out. I'll give it that much, okay? Probably about out to here. We can pretty much trust that it's going to be close to that. So, but what I want to show you guys is this. Look at this. The electron flux. Now, something I'm finding strange is, do you see how the red line quit? All right, and the blue line kept going. What that means is that, that's the electron flux, and it happened all the way across the board. So when we're looking at this, I believe the blue line is goes satellite 14, I think. And then the red line, I think, is 15. We'll go look at a different one, but I'll show it to you. One of the satellites is not giving data, is what I'm trying to say. So, and I'll show it to you here in a second. Okay, so I took you over here to the other one. I'll show you guys. Now, this one's showing the same exact stuff, guys. See how the red line's not there? So if we go over here and we look at the key, over here on the right, oops, it's right there. It goes 14. Okay, so goes 14 we're not getting any data from. Now, does that really mean a whole lot? Well, it just means we're not getting data from it, but it's still going to be able to collect data from goes 15. So we're still going to get readings. It's just not going to have that on there. My guess is that we would see the same spikes. Okay, anyway, because you can see how the red and blue kind of mirror each other anyway. What I'm trying to say here, guys, is we're getting massive electron flux. And again, electron flux is just the difference from normal. Okay, it can be more electrons would give us an electron flux, and less electrons would give us an electron flux. It's the difference from the normal number. Okay, that's what it's showing you. Now, when this one spikes down like this, I believe it's an increase. Okay, I believe we're having more electrons than what we typically would. Now, is it showing anything on our geomagnetic levels? No, it's not. It's very strange to me, but that's what we're seeing, okay? And again, if you look over here at the X-ray flux, which is definitely what we should be seeing, you're seeing how this stuff is starting to separate out. Again, with that sunspot right in front, we're going to see all that stuff change a little bit, which is something we haven't seen in a while because we haven't been dealing with very many sunspots in a very long time because of solar minimum. But yeah, so I want to show you that. Okay, guys, this is a magnetosphere. I show you guys this all the time. But we're seeing some stuff that's kind of nuts. And again, I'll just show it to you. I'll run this through on the sidebar here. Now, what we're seeing there isn't that out of the ordinary. Everything looks kind of symmetrical. And again, keep in mind, the sun's over here. And when we get stuff that's coming from the sun, everything should pretty much stay symmetrical. Meaning, anything that happens on the bottom is probably going to happen at the top very symmetrically. Okay? But when we see stuff that's not, we have to look at it in a different way. So, as we're going through this, as you can see, you see how we get hit right there? Okay? Now, that right there, most people, it only happened a couple frames there. Most people would skip right past that and not even see what I'm talking about, which probably what happened to all you guys, okay? Now, again, we see this pressure hit. Now, watch what happens. Watching the back, what I want you guys to look at is back here. Okay, as I'm running this through, Okay, notice nothing's really happening out front, but then that. Okay, now what's going on here? Well, I'm going to show it to you on the other graphs too, but look at this point right here. Okay, now remember, this is a two-dimensional model trying to represent a three-dimensional thing. And I say that all the time. And the reason being I say that is because when we're looking at these things, we have to understand that it's like a donut surrounding our planet. Okay, things get in easier on the poles. So it can like go over top, it can come from the bottom, or it can come straight at us. All right, the bow shock, when it deflects stuff off, it deflects in that way. It'll deflect it to the left, but it can actually, or right, but it can actually deflect stuff over top of us and underneath us too. Okay, so we have to understand that. And I'll show you a graph here in a minute. I showed it to you before, but I'll show it to you again. But what I want you guys to see is this. All right, so watch what happens as I move forward here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. But just watch that point. Even that point right there. See how it's got intense density pressure right there? And it's only that one spot. Now watch what happens at this spot. Okay? Nothing else is really going on in the rest of the area there than that. Okay? So if we go back to there, the very next capture 4 minutes later is that. So what happened? Well, if you look at this, again, it didn't look like anything was coming from the front. Okay, so it was a starting point of there. It's almost like something peeled out, like that. Okay, now our Earth acts like a capacitor sometimes. Okay, a capacitor holds energy until it can't hold it anymore. Then it releases it, either by being forced to release it or by naturally just can't hold anymore and it has to release it. Now, is that what's going on here? I don't know exactly, but it does. That most definitely is something that is happening just in that one specific spot, and it's happening in a way that is causing me to think that it's directional. Okay? Because it's only happening on that side. You see how it splits open? Right there? Now, it's not as bad if we split open in the backside like that, because obviously the sun's over here on the right. Okay, so typically solar wind is going to be that direction. All right, so if we get something there, and keep this in mind too. Like I said, stuff comes from the bottom and the top, left, right, all different angles. Okay, so this actually could be coming from the bottom up or from the top down. We just don't know because this is a two-dimensional model. But we can say at that point, it looks like it blew out the back. Okay? See how that happens? And then it goes back to normal. Alright? And again, nothing's going on in the front there. Okay? Because sometimes when we get hit in the front, as it rotates through, it'll get back here and then this will do something weird. Okay? But this to me looks like we were releasing energy ourselves here. And again, I can't say that that's the 100% what happened, but all I'm showing you here is the observation. So you make up your mind there whether or not you think that's what it is. I tend to think that that's what it is. And now let me show you the solar wind speed map. Okay, this is where, like I said, I detected a 3.3 million mile per hour burst. Okay, so as we're going through here, first thing I would note, that's very low density in front of our planet. Okay, and I've been saying that now for weeks. Not to mention that the direction of these arrows, yeah, they're all over the place. All over the place. So as we see this, we start getting little bitty hits, and then you can see it's starting to build pressure back here too. Okay, the color's changing. See out here in the front though, it's doing the same. So as we go on here, but we're keeping consistent low density out in front. So why is that happening? And then this, right in here, we're seeing areas. Now check this out. Okay, when we get to right about there, you see that? See that little blip? Okay, now what I want you to look at, well, first off, did anything come from the front? No. All right, nothing was around that area around the time that this is happening. Keep an eye on this wind speed. All right, it says 428. We've been keeping like at about a 300. So that's a little elevated there, but watch as we go through. There's 809. Well, yeah, let's back it up some. There's the first. That's 958. Okay, so it goes to 958. Right there, and that's that same spot. That's that same timestamp that happened on that other graph. Okay, see the timestamp? So that's confirming that that's actually something that happened. All right, so then we toggle forward again, 809. Okay, then it starts dropping back off. Now watch what happens. We go on again. Now I want you to understand that watch the shape that this starts to take. Okay, look at that. And then you see that big burst. Okay. Now, did we get something from the front to cause that? It looked like we might have got a little something, but it didn't look that bad. But watch this. See that shape starting to take place? I think what's happening here is that our magnetic field, it's taking the shape of that. Okay? So something magnetically is happening. We're seeing all this chaos in the back too. And then watch the wind speed. Watch what happens when we get the big hit. Okay, you see it's expanding back out. The wind speed goes to 437, 371. Now watch this. Boom. Okay, but what's strange, guys, is look out in front. There's not a whole lot going on there. Okay, so I don't know where that hit came from. I can't call it solar wind. I wish I could. That's a big hit. Okay, and then it's only one hit. Boom, and then we go back to this. Okay, now I will notice that, the density did drop back here after that because that big hit drug some of those particles away. All right, now, like I said, our bow shock didn't hardly move. It moved a little bit, you see that? But then we get this big boom. Usually when we get those blasts like that, that bow shock out in front of us is bouncing around bad, and it's not. So to me, it's almost like it might have came from a different direction, or even inside of our bow shock, like we had another release. And then the satellite detector doesn't know the source of the energy. All it can tell you is that it's getting charged particles moving at a certain speed and density. That's all it can tell you. It can't tell you it came from the sun. It can't tell you it came from your butt. But it just tells you that that's what was happening at that point. Now let's look at this at the same timestamp. Now the blue lines, guys, are our IMF lines. That's our connection to the sun and other celestial objects. Okay? So as we move through here, and the black lines are the pole lines, and the red lines are the closed field lines. I'm not going to go into exactly what that all means. I've done it multiple times, and I'll do it again. But the main thing right now is the field lines, the blue ones. It's our connection to the sun and other celestial objects. So we're going to go to that timestamp. Okay, and you're going to see that there was some stuff happening out here in the back before that. Now, as we get going through here, you see that bulge? Okay, that's when that first initial hit I showed you, okay, that happened. Now, again, I can't tell you what happened there. I'm just telling you that it wasn't normal. All right. Now, as we get going through here, I want you to watch these IMF lines. They're going to pile up in the front. Okay. Then here's the big hit. See that big hit? Boom. That was a pretty massive hit. Now, this is telling me that this is not... Do you see these IMF lines out here in the front? They're completely broken. Basically, this is chaos, is what I'm trying to say. Now, again, it only lasts for a couple seconds and it goes back, a couple minutes, and it goes back to normal, as much as normal can be, except for this. Remember I said stuff that is usually symmetrical? This is not symmetrical right now. Okay? There's something magnetically going on in this area. And I don't know what that is, but you can see that the IMF lines at the top are acting different than what they are at the bottom. So something magnetically is going on there. That was a pretty decent sized hit, but it only lasted a couple seconds, a couple minutes there. So what's going on there? I really can't tell you. Did we catch some sort of a solar storm, or maybe a small flare was shot our way from that sunspot? I don't know. But you know, when we don't see stuff coming from the front, but yet we react in such a chaotic way here, it causes me to wonder what's actually going on. Is it our object interacting with the sun, you know, causing all this magnetic disruption? Most definitely could be. Again, that right there is just kind of nuts. But I'm going to go ahead and end the video there, guys. I've ranted on long enough, and I am sorry about the beginning of this video, but I do think that people need to understand. Quit crying wolf, and quit putting your stinking breaking news crap in the front of every one of your thumbnails. If you ever want to be taken serious at all, just quit doing that. It's ridiculous. And these are some channels that I actually respected. I mean, and when I started seeing that these particular channels start doing that, it's like, man, I don't even want to look at it. It's just crazy. So, with that being said, guys, God bless. Yeshua saves, and you can drink this Kool-Aid.